Daddybear America, welcome to this episode. Today we are talking about how older men love. Specifically, how is it different from younger men and why it's so attractive for younger men, the love that older men represent. So if you think about younger men, you think about adventure, you think about dynamics, you think about energy. With older men, you think about, when it comes to love, calm, acceptance. These are things that go with maturity. And so you almost have the kind of yin-yang of younger and older love and how they fit together, but also how they oppose each other. So today we are breaking down all of that, talking about how younger and older love fits and why older love is so special. And that's what we're talking about today. My name is Frank Schneider. My friends call me Fritz, and this is Daddybear America. So today we are talking about younger and older love, and specifically what makes older love special and how younger love fits in with it. Older love, as I said, is more peaceful. It's less dramatic. It has a calmness and acceptance to it that younger love really doesn't. So before we get into all those details, I want to talk about something that's important to the channel. It was just Halloween here, and I want to talk about something kind of spooky. If the lights go out, it was so spooky. I have supporting members on this channel. If you are a supporting member, I literally wouldn't have the light to produce this show without you. So thank you. If you want to support this channel, there's a join button down there right next to the subscribe button and the like button. So click the subscribe button, it's free. Click the like button. I won't tell anybody, you don't have to tell anybody. And click the join button for about the price of a cup of coffee, and it allows me to buy lights and put more time into writing scripts and producing material on a weekly basis. We're now releasing videos on Tuesdays and Fridays. In the last few videos, we've been kind of going over what older men are looking for, what makes a younger man's love, what shapes it, how it fits with older men, and why older men are sort of dropping out of the scene and not dating as much anymore, or just not appearing in the dating scene. This episode is really more about what is an older man's love, how is it shaped? And so it's a component to how is a younger man's love shaped. One thing is a younger man, as we went over in the previous episodes, is shaped by adventure, energy, chemistry. I talked at some length about my relationship with my boyfriend George, and I was 24, he was 69. Holy cow. That was a wild part of my life. And how our love differed, and specifically how his love was versus my love. My love was very energetic for him and very sexual and very, paternal. Like he was a father figure to me, and it was dynamic for me, and I was seeking sort of affirmation and acceptance out of him. He was not really looking for the same things in me that I was looking for in him, and specifically because of the way his love was shaped and how an older man's love is shaped. Now, as I get older, I can feel the way that I love is changing as well. It's not as testosterone fueled. It's not about like showing my love and receiving physical love in all of these very sexualized forms. Not as much. It's still there, but it's a much more calm but emotional sort of connection rather than a physical chemical connection where I am using sex to fulfill it. So it's not as sexualized, basically. Now, older men still have sexual desire, but it's really an extension of an emotional sort of connection, and not so much sexual first and then emotional after. It's more emotional first and then sexual is following that. Really, if you look at a comparison between my relationship with George, which was hot and steamy, and when the energy sort of faded, as a very youthful person, I didn't really have the processing to understand what was happening between a much older man and myself at basically 25 years old. Now, when I compare myself to Bill's love, I really understand that on a much deeper sense, that it's the warmth between us that keeps us together, not this sexual energy that is fueling us. And it's a difference of youth versus sort of, adult, sort of growing up and understanding that not everything is a dopamine hit, that sometimes you're delaying gratification. Delayed gratification is a thing, and what it basically means is that you're not exposing yourself to dopamine hits every second, whether it's Twitter or Instagram or, masturbating and sex and orgasms. Sometimes you wait a little while and experience that after delaying, or you're not having dessert every night. You're having dessert on Saturday, or, you can extend this metaphor out to whatever you want. So one of my favorite quotes for the type of love that you might find with older men, and I don't know why I'm adding this in, but it's a quote that I read and I really loved it. Snow on the rooftop, fire in the furnace. As in silver hair on the top, and he's got fiery energy in his heart. So I love that, and that is a great metaphor for the type of love that I receive from Bill, and that I think older men have to offer. I think as I become older, what I feel is that there isn't so much a performance going on my end anymore. I think older men don't feel the need to perform like younger men. We are understanding of our own bodies and who we are, and have become comfortable with that, for better or for worse. I mean, there's some good and some bad with not needing to perform anymore. You're not as quick to people please. You are going to say things that might hurt people's feelings, but are honest. But you are also looking more for authenticity and experience rather than physical perfection. So in the form of younger men might be looking for a perfect specimen, or sometimes older men really love the young man because of his perfection. So there is some older men who are just looking for youth to rob youth, and that's not necessarily the best aspect of this community. I would probably discourage that, but there's gold diggers out there too. So I mean, I understand that there's bad sides to all communities, and there are older men just looking for youth to basically rob young men of their youth. But to highlight some positives of what older men are and appreciate in mass, overall, I think it's a net positive. That they aren't looking for physical perfection, that they understand that they aren't perfect. And like, for example, for me, I am now really understanding the limitations of my physical form, in that you rack up injuries, and at the end of the day or the beginning of the day, your body creaks in ways that it didn't used to. And the idea of a very imperfect body is now a reality where, in my 30s and 20s and in my teens, I basically could jump off the roof of a house and pretty much be okay, like bounce back and just like go on with my day. Like, wow, that was an adventure. Mountain biking and having like really bad crashes. Like I remember there was some crashes where I was basically bleeding from every joint on my body, nearly breaking my collarbone a number of times, or concussions of the various nature, and within a day or a week basically being back to 100%. And that's just not the way I am anymore. So I think when you understand that reality, that your body is flawed, and it has a life of experience that is showing on it, wrinkles and scars and all of the various adventures that you went through sort of showing on your skin, that you start to accept life in a different way, and you start to accept people. And while youth is nice, I mean, it's beautiful and sort of perfect in its own way, you understand older people and begin to accept them and understand that their life wasn't perfect. Yes, pain taught us boundaries. If you think about, as an older man, how many heartbreaks you've had. I've had, now probably a dozen. Just scenarios where I was dating or hung up on somebody, and for whatever reason, it didn't work out. And that might seem as like, to a young man, as like, well, he's been burned and he's bitter and he's cold, and that's not it at all. Really what it is learning to slow down and learning about boundaries, which was a huge lesson for me, and I'll keep referring to it because it's so important, that you don't need to chase chaos. And if something feels like it has too much energy, then I might just not chase that, because that's a form of chaos. It's not healthy. And that's the demonstration of learning boundaries. Now, there's some love that is really, really great that you don't want to push away, but it should be a healthy love. And so if a love feels unsafe, or if it feels like somebody is testing me, or if a love feels like it's testing another older man, I've seen older men say, you know what, this seems a little, while that love was powerful, I don't know that I need that kind of energy in my life. The experience an older man develops over time isn't the development of a bitterness. It's balance, and it's necessity. I can think back to a time not actually too long ago. It wasn't that long ago that I was much younger, guys. And I think you'll find a lot of older men saying that. Where I look back on sort of my being drawn in by an older man and seeing my youthful energy and thinking, I understand why he didn't want a part of that. Like, he might have walked away, and I now see how I behaved at that time with this rambunctiousness, and to an older man, that can be quite off-putting. I think when we talk about older men and the type of love and sort of stability, that can get confused with domination and control. And I think a lot of older men are out there confusing that as well. They become very rigid in certain ways. And there are, very controlling older men out there. But that is the exception. That is not the norm. I think many older men demonstrate their love with a stability, and that is very, very attractive. And that's very different from domination or control or rigidity, being rigid in your ways. And I think for a younger man, that stability is very erotic. I have found I'm able to really open up with an older man when that stability is so apparent to me that I can basically sort of work around that, sort of orbit around that stability, and show my various sides to Bill and say, this is me, but this is also me, and maybe sexually we can explore that. And for the most part, he is somewhat unchanging in that stability of his, that he's open to new ideas, adventures, and erotic adventures, but ultimately he's always the same guy before and after, as well as during. And that's a very safe place for me to be. So, and I think if I had to say there was some confusion on the part of older men, it's that younger men are looking for somebody who's controlling. And I think that's not true. I have met older men who were controlling, and I didn't hang around them for very long. Because it's their misunderstanding that somehow younger men want a controlling older man. What they're actually seeking is that stability, that grounding of an older man who isn't as dynamic or energetic, who isn't going to fly off the handle or change on a whim. Society glamorizes youthful passion. I mean, think of the Kardashians, how trashy they were and youthful. And you know what? They're getting older. I think with this channel, what I really would love to change about society is that appreciation for older men as well. Like I appreciate older men. And I really think that's a massive benefit to society, offers a massive benefit to society to appreciate older men. Older love models patience and endurance over time. And I think you see this a lot. You're not going to see a lot of older men flippantly loving and then not loving, going in and out of love. That's a very youthful, energetic type of love. Older men are patient and enduring. I think that it's important to say a lot of older men also demonstrate forgiveness. I mean, when I think of the love that I received from Bill, that is exactly it. Now, when I met him, he was 65 and I was basically 30. And that's a huge difference. And when I look back on when we first met, how energetic I was, and sort of, yes, dynamic. And then how I look at his energy, which was sort of slow and methodical. But also where I was energetic is deciding whether the relationship was good or bad, or in or out. And he demonstrated balance and stability and sort of a constant direction. But he also demonstrated forgiveness in a way that I hadn't learned at that time because I was too young. And this is the kind of love that sustains family relationships or friendships over a very long time. It's also the kind of caring and love that sustains communities or church communities, townships, that you are in it for the long haul, and that this isn't some passion project that will be fleeting, that an older man's love and caring really is ongoing in a way that youth really can't commit to. So in wrapping up, what we've sort of illustrated here in this episode is that younger men have dynamic, fiery bursts of energy, and they show that in their love. It can be off, it can be on, it can be explosive, and younger men tend to walk away. Older men really grow slow with their emotional connection, but they're consistent, it's stable, and it grows over time, and it's less likely to fail immediately unless some catastrophic event happens, whether it's an emotional injury or a physical injury or just somebody leaving. So older men's love, it's evolved. It hasn't so much declined like a lot of people I think like to put it. It's really an evolved sense of love. And it's a beautiful, very erotic and attractive part of being an older man. So if you're a younger man, it's pretty easy to find this quite attractive, especially hanging around with a bunch of younger men and seeing how frivolous they are with physical things and physical love. And then to see how an older man can love and treasure another man and a younger man. And it's really a difference between explosive energy of youth and learning to control that energy and have it burn over an extended period of time. It's a much more stable form of combustion that is more efficient, and you can draw on and count on in the dark parts of life. And when, as a younger man, for me, when I turn to Bill, I know his love is consistent and strong, and it's always there. And I don't know that I would feel that if I were with a younger man. Do you have ideas of how older men's love is demonstrated? Are you a younger man and you've experienced this yourself? Or are you an older man and you didn't feel this? Does this not relate? Comment down below. Let me hear from you guys. I'm interested in what you have to say about this topic. I think it's really interesting, and I really want you to feel free to express how you've felt love, and especially if it's different, or in fact, if it's the same as how I recount it. So while you're down there, click the subscribe button because you watched the whole video, just little show of gratitude, and click the like button. That helps us with the algorithm. And also it's a great sign of your appreciation for this channel. If you want to go above and beyond, as so many have at this point, click the join button for about the price of a cup of coffee. And that allows me to write new fresh scripts on a weekly basis. We're now releasing videos on Tuesdays and Fridays just for you. And let's be honest, the pay from advertisements is just not that great. So if you want to help me directly, the join button is the best way to do that. I want to thank my supporting members at this point. I literally couldn't do it without you. You guys bought this light for me and are paying to have these new scripts written on a weekly basis. So thank you guys. I couldn't do it without you. I think we have thoroughly dissected how a younger man's love is great but has a lot of flaws, and how an older man's love is more consistent and more stable, and why that is. We covered it on this episode, and we're going to be talking more about topics like this in an episode that's coming out in just a few days. Join us for that one, and I will see you in the next video. Peace. I think that was good.